So today I'm filming a video and I'm a little bit nervous for it. I'm actually very nervous for it. I think this is like the most personal video I've ever filmed, and didn't really want to do it. When I was going through this process, I really wish there had been a video like this, so I'm making one. Basically today I'm going to talk about my experience with TMS therapy. The letters TMS stand for transcranial magnetic stimulation. It's typically used to treat major depressive disorder, otherwise known as like clinical depression. For example, I don't have depression, but yeah, I got TMS to treat the depressive symptoms. You probably have no idea what it is. I know I didn't know what it was. I didn't really know about it though until my doctor brought it up to me. TMS is basically for people who are not responding to medication, specifically like with treatment-resistant symptoms, or people who can't take medication for various reasons. I've been on a lot of different medications, and I've been on medication since I was 14. My medication does definitely help a little bit. It makes enough of a difference for me to have to keep taking it. But in terms of like my quality of life and being able to live like a normal person, medication alone doesn't do it. And I also go to therapy. I'm very open about the fact that I go to therapy. But medication and therapy are like the two normal treatments for depression, like the most common. So my doctor brought up TMS, and the treatment itself is basically you sit in a chair and they put like an MRI magnet on your head and it goes click, 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 click. And then that's the treatment. The theory behind it, the way it was explained to me, is when you have a mood disorder, the brain cells that aren't firing aren't necessarily dead. They're just not firing and they have to be like activated again. If you know what ECT is, TMS is kind of along the same veins, except you don't need to go under general anesthesia. It has a lot less side effects in terms of like memory loss, and they're not really sure why it works, but it does. Basically, I had heard about the treatment and I was supposed to do it over the summer, but there was such a long waiting list at my psychiatrist's office. Like a huge waiting list, and I couldn't get it over the summer. And I go to school about like 45 minutes from my house, so I couldn't like drive back and forth every day because the treatment is every day, 5 days a week for 8 weeks. So there was no way I could drive back home and come back to school every day for weeks. So I wasn't able to do it last semester, and last semester I had a very difficult time. The past 2 semesters I've actually had to take incompletes at the end of the year and finish my finals the next semester. I don't want to have to live like that. I want to be able to like finish my classes and finish school, so it basically just nothing was working for me. And so this semester we decided to look into places around LA. I ended up going to a place called SoCal TMS, and they did an amazing job. The head nurse was my nurse, and she's absolutely amazing, and I can't say enough good things about her. I went to the location on Sawtelle, which is in West LA. It's about 20 minutes from my school. And here's the part that got really expensive. I don't have a car and I don't have driver's insurance, so I can't get a Zip car, which is like a campus rental car service. Basically, I had to take a Lyft there and back every single day, and that just used all of my summer savings. I worked 3 jobs last summer, and just all the money I had saved up just went towards that. The treatment itself was covered by insurance, so that was not nearly as expensive as transportation was. So that was the main expense for me, but I was able to pay for it because I had saved so much money up over the summer. For insurance to cover TMS, I think you have had to been on like several different antidepressants, and also like either a mood stabilizer or an antipsychotic along with the antidepressants in order to like boost the effects. Sometimes they'll put you on like a mood stabilizer or an antipsychotic along with antidepressants. About the experience itself, basically what it entailed was I did it 7 a.m. So all my treatments were at 7 a.m. because I had to go to class after. So I woke up at 6 a.m. every day, got in a Lyft, took a half-hour Lyft to Sawtelle, took a half-hour Lyft back. At my doctor's office back home, it would have taken about an hour per session. The place that I went to, it took about 40 minutes per session because they had an updated software that decreased the time in between the clicks. So the way it works is they initially did like this test with my hand. So they put the magnet on my head and they would fire just one, and they would watch my hand reflex go, and that's where they determined where to put it on my head, which is like a super cool process. Just watching my hand go when they just fired a magnet was like crazy. The brain is wild. TMS is kind of advertised as completely painless, and you feel nothing, but you definitely feel something. I would describe it as, okay, picture a hammer, and it has like the blunt end with the circle, and then it has like the scrapey end with the two. Imagine the scrapey end kind of gently going against your head really fast like this, and at the same time there's like a woodpecker behind your eye, and someone's pushing your nose to the side. That's what it feels like. It's definitely painful at first. They started me at the 80 level, and they bumped me up right away. I think most places go to 110 or 120, but they bumped me up to 140. So that was definitely more painful, and every time they would go up in power, it was like, ow. But I have a very high pain tolerance, so I was able to handle it. My nurse said some people jump out of the chair during the first one, but like, it's honestly not that bad. In terms of side effects, I got a lot of headaches, but I always get headaches, and I always get migraines. These were definitely from TMS, but my point in saying that I get headaches was that I can handle them, so it wasn't a big deal for me. Side effect that definitely was a big deal was it made me so tired. I was constantly exhausted. I had difficulty lifting my arms, let alone exercising, and I was always falling asleep in class. It was really bad. I remember one day in my digital art class, it was like a lab day, and the lights were off, and I fell asleep for the entire 3-hour class. I like woke up and no one was there. It was really bad. Falling asleep was definitely a huge issue for me. I was taking naps every day. I was definitely sleeping over 12 hours every day. And it wasn't just the fact that I got up early, it was definitely also the treatment. It was like kind of a different kind of tired, like a soupy kind of tired, if that makes any sense. It wasn't like, oh, I didn't get enough sleep. It was like exhaustion. I had 39 sessions of TMS, and I met with the doctor every week. Every week they'd do like a survey, and they'd monitor like your points. In terms of like how like bad your depression is, they like measure it, and then they like put it on a graph. And this is just for insurance purposes, at least mine was. The insurance just wanted to see like how it was working and whatnot. But the thing is, you can't really measure how well a person is doing by a graph. So I wanted to talk a little bit about like the relief I felt from it. In terms of like the graph, my scores didn't go down that much. On paper, a lot of my symptoms were the same. The huge difference that it made for me was my motivation. My YouTube channel has definitely suffered because I've had zero motivation to do anything. But I remember I had a midterm, and I started studying for it 2 weeks in advance, which is like old Rachel. This is like high school Rachel. And I ended up getting like a 96% on my midterm in like a really difficult art history class. So I was really proud of myself for that. And I know I wouldn't have done it if I wasn't feeling motivated to do it, and I definitely was not feeling motivated to even do my homework before that. So that made a huge difference, and if that was the only relief that I felt, it would be worth $1 million to me. But I also felt relief in other ways. For example, long story, I had kind of a thing with someone, and then it ended really badly, and then they have a new significant other, and I found out about that, and I thought I would be heartbroken and like really upset, especially because it was so soon, but like I wasn't, and I felt happy for them, and it was like weird. It was the weirdest feeling, because like I know myself, and I know I would have been so sad, but like for some reason I just like wasn't sad, and it was so weird. So basically the way they say they know it starts working is you get these like little lifts throughout the day. You'll just have like an hour of feeling better, and then you'll just go right back down. And I didn't really believe this, but around week 5, I was really bored. I was on a film set, and I didn't need to do anything. So I was just like sitting there, and I know I would have been miserable normally, and I would have been having really negative thoughts, and I'd feel like terrible, but I like felt okay. In fact, I felt pretty good. I felt like I usually do when I'm like laughing with friends.
which is weird. I could feel myself coming off of it about an hour later, which is like such a weird feeling because I could just feel myself very slowly going back to normal, like normal for me. That happened, and then it didn't happen for another week, and then it happened for 2 days in a row, and then it didn't happen for like another 2 weeks, and then it happened like for like 12 hours, and that was like a great experience for me. And now it comes and goes for about like those 12 hours. They say you don't experience the full effects of treatment until like a month or 2 after you're done, and I've only been done for a few weeks. I imagine I will continue to improve, at least I hope I will. I'll do an update video in a few months to update you guys on how I'm doing. I guess I just wanted to say, like, if you're considering it and it's something realistically that you can do, I would go for it. It's a massive commitment, especially for your time. Also financially, I imagine it would be easier if you could drive yourself, but if you have to take like a Lyft or a bus every day, it will get expensive. In all, it was 100% worth it for me. I had a massive relief from my symptoms. My symptoms are still there. I'm definitely not 100% better, but it was enough of a difference to notice it and give me a little bit of relief, and that's like, you can't put a price on someone's quality of life. So it was definitely worth it for me, and I'm just so grateful to have been able to do this. I'm so privileged to have been able to do this because I know some people can't even get medication or therapy for their mental illness, let alone like support from their family. So I was very lucky to have been able to do this, and it wasn't even something really realistic for me. I had to drop one of my classes because I had like no time. It was worth it and it worked, so I'm really happy about that. If you have like any questions on this, you can leave them in the comments. So yeah, thanks for watching. I'll have a normal video up soon. I'm sorry about my last video, it had no sound. I'll refilm it and post it again. But yeah, I love you guys. Thank you. Thank you so much for listening. Bye.